Welcome back to Hoops HD, everybody. It
Woohoo!
is Sunday, February 8th. It is the day of, we can't say the magic words because of some type of copyright, but the big game
No,
should be
you're allowed to say
super.
Michigan and Ohio State.
Michigan,
Yes,
Ohio State,
big
the
game.
rivalry. Uh, I'm Chad Sherwood. We got David Dorman and David Griggs up here, John Titel below me, John Stalika, and Mike Chaw's kitchen there. And Mike is in the back. He's making us some lunch, I think.
Yeah. All
Oh, here
right.
he comes right now. We got Mike Chow with us too. This is our bracket rundown show. Uh, Mike's eating lunch. Okay.
I thought he was mixing drinks for everybody.
We are just getting going here, but this is our bracket rundown where we are going to do. Griggs, what are we doing in this show today?
Essentially, we're building a seed list. The selection committee, they meet throughout the year. There's constant communication, weekly wrap-ups and meetings, and then it takes about a week for them after all that to put together the seed list and select the field. We're going to do what they do and hopefully here less than an hour, just because we're that good. That's how good we are. We can do it in less than an hour.
We are doing what the selection committee does. I guess before we even get into anything here, Tytel, you had a chance to speak with one of the selection committee members recently.
I did. Big Sky Commissioner Tom Wistersill, the only name harder to spell than Titel I've ever met. He was very nice and gave me some good insight. A lot of the guys will just give me the cliches, but I wanted to point out a couple important things I thought he said. One was that instead of watching games like Duke, Michigan in a couple weeks, he's going to focus on bubble games because there's so many of them. In his opinion, about 16 to 18 right now, so a ginormous bubble because he wants to see how they do. Secondly, while net is important, he also talked about WAB wins above the bubble because he thinks that as you get closer to the bubble line, which is around the 11, 12 seed, whatever, that net gets a little compressed in his words, and that WAB is a greater separator among those teams. And then to make the puppet happy, of course, he said that the key is to see how you did against good competition in road neutral games. I know that's near and dear to the puppet's heart.
Yes. And he did say that to make me happy. He knew that if he didn't, I would not be happy.
Unfortunately, he also paid attention to Akron and Troy, which I know will make the puppet not happy since Akron was a Sweet
Yeah,
16 team. Is that right?
no, no, we need to go back and edit that
Okay, let's
podcast.
get moving here because we do want to hit a blind resume before we even get into the games. And I pulled up a couple of resumes here. We're not really talking bubble here. I think we're talking two teams that should be solidly in the field. But again, I just want to throw these out there. Which do you like better, left or right? We may or may not be surprised by the results. Give you all a couple seconds to look at them, and then Dorman, why don't I start with you? The gold question: blind resume, left or right? Who do you like better?
I'm going on the right side there, Chad, because of those upper, if you see wins in tier one on the right side, we got two on the road, whereas on the left, all of them are on the neutral. That's impressive to me. I like tier one road wins a lot when everything else seems pretty much equal. So I go team on the right. I like road wins, especially against the best teams in the country.
Yeah, Titel, you agree with him?
Going left.
Okay.
If you look at the blue metrics, net is better left, WAB is better left, non-conference WAB is better left, strength of schedule is better left, and non-conference strength of schedule is better left, advantage left.
All right, one more opinion here, Mike.
Geez. Let's see. Oh, yeah, on the left. Because if you look at the top three wins on the left, all of their top wins are better than the best win on the right-hand side.
Okay, well, Griggs, but all the left has is neutral, right has road, don't they?
Yeah. And that is something that that balances out 7-2 on the road. I'm pretty sure I know who the team on the left is. I think I may have said in the preseason that I was expecting them to do fairly well. Actually, no, it's not them because they actually beat Duke, and that's a much higher win. I don't know who either one is. I really don't.
Oh,
Uh,
Stalika does.
yeah,
Stalika
I
tells
don't.
who the teams are.
Stalika, you might as well not even do blind resume. He's going to know both of them regardless of who you pick.
Okay, I smell a rat on the left side because while they have like a great quality of losses, they've also lost four straight, including
Oh,
another
now I know
road
who it is.
loss that's this is it's BYU.
BYU on the left.
Yeah.
And if you look at the team on the right, they've gotten some nice road wins in the Mountain West, along with a nice neutral court win from
Well,
earlier in the year.
45 is New
So
Mexico. The University of New Mexico is 45. Is
Yeah.
that
yeah,
Utah
so
State?
yep, it is
There you
Utah State.
go.
There we go. A little
Oh.
beehive rivalry, and I guess
Hey,
one of the
David
things I
Dorman,
like.
good to see you first time.
Hey, but what I really wanted to throw in here, though, and isn't this almost saying here, Dormer, especially you went with Utah State? How bad that how much this four-game losing streak has changed BYU from a team we were talking on the two line to a team with a comparable profile to a Mountain West team.
It does a four game losing streak, especially when they've been the showcase game of the day a couple of times. Last night late against Houston, last week against Kansas. Everyone's been seeing these games, and Utah State keeps rolling on. I think these seeds are getting much closer than most believe.
If BYU had beaten Oklahoma State, I think it's a much different story. Then it's like, okay, we can still give them the benefit of the doubt. But that loss to Oklahoma State really changed my perception.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
think a better blind resume would have been BYU versus, let's say, Michigan State, because I know I'd commented on Dorman's bracket. I was starting to wonder if Michigan State was starting to look like a protected seed. They erased those worries pretty significantly with
Yeah.
their overtime win against a very hot Illinois team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, like, I don't think I could have sold this as a comparable blind resume this morning here, putting these
Yeah.
two, putting BYU against
Not after
Michigan.
yesterday. Yeah.
But let's jump into this here. What we're going to do is build this seed list. I'm going to each of you one at a time. I'm going to ask you for the next four teams up. We'll debate them. If we agree, we'll move on. If we don't agree, we'll have a little debate. And if a tiebreaker is needed, I'm going to cast a tiebreaker vote. Dorman, as Mike said, it's your first time been on with us for a little while. Welcome back. And why don't you start things off? Give me the 4-1 seeds in order.
Thank you, guys. Arizona.
No.
Yeah,
What?
sorry.
Disagree.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Michigan. Duke. UConn.
Okay, both teams lost their last time out here.
Sure did.
Both on the road against the second best teams in their conferences. You don't think that knocks them off the one line though?
I went. Can I discuss a team that's not on the board
Sure,
yet?
absolutely.
I looked at Houston hard and long, especially after last night's win on the road in BYU. It's really, really close in my mind. I have no problem if anyone wants to stick Houston anywhere in between Michigan and Duke or Duke and UConn.
Yeah, that was tough for me too. Houston and UConn.
I know that they both lost. I had these same teams in these same orders, and while I definitely have teams like Houston and Illinois and Nebraska and even Iowa State closer to the one line, the one loss, they were so far ahead, these four, that I don't think one loss on the road to teams that are also going to be seated very high in this field made a difference at all. It made a difference, but I don't think you knock anybody off for that.
Yeah, Ty, let me get your thoughts on this too. And I would argue here also a quick point that by Houston winning at BYU was their first road win against anybody that's clearly in this field. So I think that Houston has may have a little room to catch up to UConn, but do you think that Houston should be up there?
Not yet, but as you can see with the remaining schedules, Connecticut does not have a top 20 game left on its schedule. Houston has 3 all in a row all this month, so they have plenty of opportunities. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get all 3. If they do, they're obviously a 1 seed, but we'll see. I think that I would go with no veto.
I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and move on to the 2 line. And Stalika, let me go to you for the 2 line.
Well, I kind of hinted at it earlier. Illinois was a team that
Woo.
probably could have been a 1 had they won at Michigan State, but they did give UConn a bit of a reprieve, so they would be my number 5. Houston would be my number 6. This was a team that I had some concerns about potentially being a 2, but since the Cougars keep on winning while everyone else is stumbling, I have no problem putting them up there. So let's also get Nebraska up here, because this is another team that's been consistently winning after a brief 2-game slide. And if I had to choose between a pair of Big 12 teams between Iowa State and Kansas, You know what? I'm going to give the edge to the Jayhawks right here.
Really?
They do have the
Wow.
head-to-head against Iowa State for now. This is another team that's getting red hot of late.
Somebody said really. Whoever it was, you want to
Yeah.
argue that?
I know that they did beat Iowa State. They did it in Lawrence, and while Kansas, correct. If we were seeding teams based on what they have done since New Year's Day, I think Kansas is up here. But if you take in the whole body of work, as the cliche goes, I think Iowa State's done a little bit more. I think that win at Purdue is really, really two seed caliber good, and as good as Kansas has been, they don't have anything like that.
I would also remind you they won against Texas Tech.
They
That was
did.
not in Lawrence.
Yeah, they did.
Nor was their win over Tennessee, nor was their win over NC State. Um,
No,
but
Kansas, I
I
gotta
think
admit, that's a good that is a very good profile.
uh, Mike, what do you think? Should Kansas be on this line? Should,
I'm
is correct that Kansas is on this line and Iowa State
I
is
mean, I
not?
know Kansas is rising. I mean, I had them as a 3, but I think 2 is a little too rich for me. As Greg's alluded to, yes, they did beat Iowa State, but that was that was at the Allen Fieldhouse. So that has to be tempered as well. I mean, I like Kansas overall. They're rising fast. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll be a 2 seed come March, but right now I do not have them as a 2 seed.
They've
Let's
also got
get
a pretty brutal week coming up because tomorrow night Arizona comes to the Fog, and after that they have a visit to Hilton Magic at Iowa State.
And they have to
not
play
that
Houston too.
State's remaining schedule is much to sneeze at either, though, with at
Doesn't
BYU
Kansas
at
have to play Houston
Arizona.
as well, if I recall correctly?
Yeah.
Tytel, you want to cast a tiebreaker vote for me here?
Yep.
Kansas or Iowa State? Who do we put on the 2 line?
Man, Chad, you know I do like the head-to-head thing, but I will go with Hilton Magic just because I'm more impressed by them. Their numbers are a little better across the board. I understand Darren Peterson missed a couple of the Kansas losses, but obviously, if Kansas wins the rematch, then I think that they would flip-flop.
Absolutely. If they go to Ames and win, that is yeah,
Yeah,
or
I
wherever
have a
they
little.
play.
I
That'll
have a little
flip it.
note.
Yeah.
I have a little note here, by the way. I meant to mention this at the start of the show. I apologize. We are recording this around 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, which means the games that are going on right now, unless they go final before we're done, are not factored in. Michigan's on a road has a road game. Texas Tech has a road game later on tonight. Iowa and UCF will be playing. USC struggling at Penn State right now, but we'll see what happens, and maybe we get a couple of finals before we're done. But Griggs, you want to give us the 3 line?
Yeah, I think you got to go with Kansas. I still wouldn't have them as a 2, but in looking at them again, I thought I liked them a lot. But they're way up there. And then my next one, Purdue, who is kind of sliding down by 1 seed standards, but is still solidly up there. I know that they haven't always brought it, but I think Florida is playing very, very well right now. And while we were discussing whether or not they should be a protected seed, given a little bit of a recent slide, I think yesterday, even though they were at home, beat a really, really good Illinois team, and I have Michigan State all the way up here.
Norman, you get it right?
He got it right. This was actually after I got splitting Iowa State and Kansas the way we have it now. I thought this was the easiest seed line for me. I think the 4s are not as close to this line as Greg's just had it. I have Michigan State before Purdue and Florida, but Greg's got the 4 exactly right.
Yeah, that loss to Portland really knocked Gonzaga down.
Yeah.
It did.
No question.
Yeah, I think there's an argument that Gonzaga maybe doesn't even belong on the next line here, the 4 line. But I'm not really hearing any protest to Griggs's line, which
Well,
is amazing.
nobody should ever protest me. I get it right all the time.
If you had any doubts about Florida being on the 3 line, look what they did at Texas A&M last night. They made Buckyball look like a middle of the pack
We can
SEC
move.
team.
We don't need to harp on that.
Yeah, they've now won at Vanderbilt and at A&M. That top of that profile is really strong.
Yeah.
Tytel, how about giving us the 4 line? We do have Gonzaga under consideration, but as I mentioned, you don't have to throw them in here.
Well, since nobody likes Gonzaga after losing at Portland without the one of the best players in the country, efficiency rating wise, in Braden Huff by single digits, I guess we can put him on the 4 line. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody. As far as the rest of it, I know Vandy is heading in the wrong direction, but they just had so much good on their schedule from the first couple months of the season that I don't think you can just forget about that. I think I would put in Virginia in Joby's absence because they have so much good on their resume as well, and the losses are quite understandable. And then, of course, the Red Raiders, now that they have Duke and Houston wins on their profile, I would argue that nobody in the country has a pair of scalps that great.
Um,
Yes.
a team I'm having trouble with, Vandy is one. They just seem kind of hard to see because while I like their profile, I think mentally I just catch them on nights where they just don't look the best on the court. So while the paper is good, maybe I'm a little just eye test prejudice towards them. And another team that I actually had it ahead of them, but I need to preface this by saying I'm having a hard time with both these teams, is Alabama, and that's largely because of I just don't know how to evaluate them.
Okay. Well, first of all, when it comes to evaluating Alabama, we've already discussed that whatever happens with Bediako, we are evaluating them based on the paper, and we're not going to ding them for that. I don't think it's fair to ding them for that. The guy is legally playing on the team right now. Come tomorrow, he may not be. Hopefully, in my opinion, he will not be legally
Yeah.
playing on the team. But there was a judge's order that said you cannot penalize them, and I think we go by the judge's order. That being said,
I
Griggs,
ignore judges all the time.
seven isn't seven losses a lot of losses at this point in time for a protected seed?
It very much is. And this is why I'm having a hard time with them. But you look at these losses, Arizona, Gonzaga, at Florida, at Van. I mean, these are hard games to win
Mhm.
that I think even teams on the 2 line would have lost.
Okay, but don't you have to win a little bit more than I get the St. John's, the Illinois games aren't good,
Yeah, the
but you have to
St.
win a
John's,
couple more than that if you want the protected seed, don't you?
yeah, but I still
And
don't know
not
what to
blow a
do with
home
them.
game to Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm having a hard time because they beat Illinois, a very good Illinois team, albeit they did it at a time where Illinois wasn't playing as good as I'm just having a hard time seeding them. I did have them ahead of Vandy, but it's hard. It's a hard choice for me. I don't know. You seem a little more sure of yourself than I am with them.
I personally am sure that Alabama is not a 4 seed, but
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else is going to back you up on that. Slika, do you want to back him up on that, or do you want to make a case for another team that I probably would agree with you on?
We need to get North Carolina in the discussion because they're the only other team that realistically has a shot at a protected seat at this point. They already have home wins, well, a home win against Kansas. They already have road wins at Kentucky and Virginia, which have been pretty hard to get if you're not Kentucky or Virginia. And now you add the Duke game to the home ledger. And while they do have an iffy loss at Stanford, this is still a profile that's pretty much
Mhm.
on the either the bottom 4 or the very first 5 seed.
Yeah, and Dorman, though that loss at Stanford was when Stanford was 100% when they were
Yeah,
healthy.
it was. That's a full shot to me. That's a loss. I still lean back to Texas Tech. The Duke win, the Houston win for Texas Tech. I give them the slightest advantages and give them that last slot on the 4 seed ahead of Alabama. So I go Red Raiders.
Okay, and so I'm not hearing anybody other than Griggs that really wants to change Titel's line. So, Mike, why don't I go to you for the 5 line? We'll have North Carolina and Alabama under consideration,
Mhm.
but you can give me any
Now
four
get
teams you like.
get in Alabama, North Carolina, BYU, and St. John's.
BYU, who I just made the case for, is no better than Utah State. Does get in here well above Utah State. Um, Titel, how about those 4 teams?
No veto. I think that I understand your BYU logic, Chad, and certainly if they keep sliding, then I could see them being passed by their in-state non-arch rival. But I mean, Villanova, Wisconsin, Miami, they've got some good on their resume, and they should have beaten Arizona, as much as I hate to admit it. Like the Wildcats were falling apart in the final minute and somehow avoided the horror, what would have been a bad defeat.
Um, I did want to throw another team out there that isn't It seems like they're sort of lurking in the shadows, but you look at them and so many good wins away from home. What about Clemson?
Yeah.
Clemson picked up a real nice win
Yeah,
the
it
other
I
night
yeah, they don't have everybody that we've put in so far has, if
at
not wins it,
Cal by 22 points. That was the win.
Tops out better.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that their profile doesn't top out as high as anyone we've selected yet, sans maybe Gonzaga, but I mean, that is so many. 9 wins away from home at Cal, at Syracuse. It just seems like that adds up to pretty damn good.
We're
I could
now
throw
at a
in
point. Go
I'd
ahead,
throw.
Dorman.
I'm sorry, Slig. I'd throw Kentucky in the mix. I know there's some losses piling up. They're playing much better lately. Every loss minus Missouri is, I believe, already in the field. I can put Kentucky on this last spot on the 5 line, or definitely on the 6.
I was simply going to point out that Clemson is now the third team in the ACC since they've expanded the league that's now swept the West Coast road trip at Cal and Stanford, with Duke this year being the other one, and Wake Forest last year being the first one to pull off the feat.
Yeah, not an easy sweep. But Mike, oh sorry, Mike, this was your line. Uh, I guess I haven't heard enough love here to make any serious moves here. Um, a little bit of love for Clemson and Kentucky maybe getting in here, but Griggs, I don't think anybody really. There's more than one person that wants to make a move. So I say we leave Mike's line alone. And Dorman, let me go back to you for
I
the
do like
sixth
the St.
line.
John's pick, Mike. That was good. It was
Yeah,
BYU that was giving me pause.
me too.
Yeah.
It's kind for BYU. It's kind of like for now they're a 5 seed, but if they don't right the ship, they could plummet pretty fast, if not already.
Yeah.
They absolutely got to right the ship here. But Dorman, we've got Clemson and Kentucky under consideration, but why don't you give me 4 teams?
Clemson, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky,
All right, that is a one ACC,
SEC
three
heavy
A,
loaded.
very SEC heavy line there. Uh, Titel, did you get it right though?
No, but he gave it a very good shot, and most of it is
Oh,
correct, since you asked. I still think Louisville belongs up here. A lot of their losses were without Michael Brown Jr. When healthy, he's scoring 20 a game, and they're beating teams like Kentucky and like SMU and like Indiana and at Cal. So I think he's really a difference maker. I was skeptical on St. Louis. I'm starting to become a believer, and like they might not lose again. And I understand that their strength of schedule is atrocious, but like they might not lose again.
Any
well,
kind of bubble team is going to become the biggest St. Louis fan for sure.
mhm. Let's start, Griggs. Let's start with that question though. That do Louisville or St. Louis belong in ahead of? I guess it would be either Tennessee or Kentucky.
I agreed with Titel. I had Louisville ahead of Kentucky, but I had them one spot ahead of Kentucky, so it wasn't like there's a cavern between me and what Dorman said. And as I say, they did beat Kentucky, but it was at home, so it didn't count because no home wins count. But I did have them ahead of Kentucky by 1.
Well, I guess that's the one thing here, Mike. If we're saying Louisville and Kentucky are neck to neck, don't we have to give the edge to Louisville because they did beat them?
Yeah, I mean everything is so close. I would give a slight edge to Louisville, and this is where head to head is very important because it's overall the profiles are close.
I kind of agree. I think we go ahead and make that one swap here. We'll keep Kentucky out for now, give Louisville the last of those 6 seeds. And let me go to you, Stalika, with Kentucky and St. Louis both under consideration.
All right, so first team I'm going to go ahead and get in is Kentucky, even though I might have given them a slight edge over Tennessee now that they have the season sweep against the Vols. And I would also go ahead and get St. Louis in here because now they're rolling at 22-1 and a perfect 11-0 in the A10. I think the next team I would get in here is Villanova, but with the main caveat is they're starting to run out of opportunities for quality wins now that Seton Hall and Butler and Creighton have imploded. And you can probably guess who my last 7 seed is.
I
And
can.
it's one of UConn's arch rivals, and that's Central Florida.
They were the one team that I was about to say, why haven't we mentioned them yet? I personally love that UCF pick here on the 7 line. Dorman, do you like his line?
No, I do not have.
It's awful. The entire line is
No,
awful.
I agree with Kentucky and St. Louis.
Okay.
This is where I bring in Utah State. I have Utah State ahead of Villanova and Central Florida.
I had them a little lower.
I
I
like Utah
actually
State, but I don't like them that much. But
And I still have NC State ahead of Villanova.
okay, that's where I was. I had all four of these teams in the next group of four, but I had one team ahead of all of them, and it was NC State. They are on fire right now. And again,
Yeah.
you have to look at the whole body of work. Maybe the whole body of work isn't there yet, but my God, other than Duke, they're playing as well as anyone in that league.
I think
Well, I think
Iowa has to be
NC State.
considered too. Iowa
Yeah.
Hawkeyes.
I think NC State's other problem is they also have a rather bad loss against Georgia Tech, which I
Yeah.
think does weigh
Yeah,
them down a bit when you look at some of the other teams that I mentioned.
Yeah, it does. And it
At
took,
home.
they did not, break from the starting gate. I mean, they fell behind the pack, but they're catching up to it. I
I
mean,
see what you did there.
yeah.
Oh, that pack.
Uh, okay. Ty, let me get your thoughts on this. Should NC State be up on this line above Villanova? Yeah, I think there's a strong argument when you compare these profiles head to head, isn't there?
There is. If you like road wins, they're your team. If you like predictive metrics, they're your team. I get it. I still think Auburn impresses me more only because they've beaten St. John's, they've beaten Florida on the road, they've beaten Arkansas, they've beaten Texas, like a lot of good wins, and they've lost to a lot of good teams as well.
So you actually have Auburn up here on this line over all these teams.
I would because I am really impressed by a team that can go 14-9 with one of the hardest strengths of schedules in the nation, but I understand that like they lost to a lot of teams.
Yeah, I'll tell you personally, my problem with putting the Auburn up there is this number here, record versus top 3 tiers, a game below 500. There was a day that was a disqualifier for being in the NCAA tournament at all. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
but
quite there
only,
anymore, but I don't think it put you at the top half of the bracket.
yeah, but in games against teams that are not ranked 23 or better, that's a pretty good showing by Auburn. I didn't
And the
have
other,
them this high, but I actually thought I had them higher than most people, but I didn't have them this high.
and the other problem is if you're going to mention a team that's 14-9 and overall, don't you also have to look at a team that has a slightly better conference record? The only problem is they're called the Texas Longhorns, and we know they don't really have much of anything to speak of once you look at tiers 2 and 3, but they do have some decent wins at the top of the profile.
Well, let's try to get a final word here in Griggs. Should we dock Villanova down to put NC State in their place?
I would vote for that, but it's close, and you're going to want to go to somebody else that feels more definitively about it.
As I'm going to cast a tiebreaker vote and say that's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay.
Because there's been enough love for that move. I have not heard enough love for the Auburn or the Utah State moves. But Griggs, let me go to you with Utah State, Villanova, and Auburn all
We
under
got to get,
consideration.
yeah, Villanova right there at the top of the 8 line. I know that the teams are under consideration, deserve consideration. Having said that, I like Iowa and Wisconsin more than those teams, and then I have Auburn right at the bottom of the 8 line.
Iowa, Wisconsin, Auburn. You still would not have Utah State in then, correct?
Correct. I have them next line down.
Okay. Mike, did you get them right?
Oh, yes. I mean, I like Utah State overall. I mean, they did pick up a couple of nice road wins, but the thing is like, they're not tournament teams. That's the only problem I have. And I don't have Utah State above Villanova, Iowa, Wisconsin, Auburn. So, it's all relative. It's not so much bad on Utah State, but it's just that other teams are better.
All right. Stalika, so should we leave Griggs' line alone again?
I would take Wisconsin out of there because they're starting to look like a one-trick pony. Now, granted, it is a very good trick.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
at the
with you.
game.
I'm
I
with
was
you,
at the game. You could hear a
Stalika.
pin drop at the end. Trust me.
But I think the other problem is if I'm looking for a team to replace them, this is where we start splitting hairs a bit. I think you have to consider SMU. This is a team that Their only wins of
SMU.
note are going to be North Carolina, Texas A&M on a neutral court, and Virginia Tech. But the problem is, two of those teams have been sliding precipitously in the past week.
Well, is that the move we should make? Titel, should we take Wisconsin down and put SMU or Utah State in their place?
I think I would almost rather put Utah State. I agree it's a coin flip. It's just that, as the Big Sky Commissioner told me a couple days ago, WAB is very important when you get down to differentiating at the bubble. And as you can see, Utah State is at 28 WAB, which is pretty freaking good. And I understand their strength of schedule is not great, and they haven't beaten any Tier 1A type people, but they've beaten a whole lot of people. And if you want to ding them for losing to UNLV, you should, because they did.
Well, didn't we just put St. Louis in a line earlier, and all they have is a great overall record? So isn't that the case that Titel just made? We should have Utah State here, Dorman.
I'm with Titel. I agree. The Aggies should be right here on this line. I have them ahead of Wisconsin.
All right, we're going to give Utah State an 8 seed, Griggs.
I can see
I
why,
think-
because Utah State is more as the overall resume, whereas Wisconsin's is basically one game.
Joby would say Utah State is doing God's work because they're single-handedly knocking out New Mexico and San Diego State from the field.
Well, if Joby were here, I would have been arguing for Utah State to be on the 5 line, but he's not here.
And you knock out San Diego State, it makes it for easier bracketing because
Yeah.
one of their subregions is San Diego.
There we go. Titel, let me go to you for our 9 line. We do have Wisconsin and SMU under consideration.
Let's get the one trick pony in there because it was a heck of a pony. Let's get SMU because you have to remember their loss at Duke was without Boopy Miller. And I'm not saying they would have won with him, but you shouldn't ding them too much for losing without their best player. I think I want to get Georgia in here. I know they've had a lot of losses this year, but they beat Auburn, they beat Arkansas, they won at Missouri. They're stacking wins. And then for my 4th team, I'm going to go Buckyball. I know that they've been up and down, but they just have a lot of good on their resume. When you're beating at Auburn, when you're winning at Texas, when you're winning at Georgia, I hear some people out there like road wins.
Yeah, you know what? I was about to yell at you for putting Georgia in without putting A&M in, but since you put the both at the same time, I'm going to withdraw my.
Yell at me anyway, Chad.
I'm going to withdraw my objection
Oh.
to your line, but I'll let the other guys object to your line if they want. Stalika, you want to start?
Yeah, I was about to say Georgia and Texas A&M, they're not ponies, they're dogs, but I suppose if we're going to have a pony and dog show on the 9 line, I won't object to it.
I'll throw someone into the mix here. I like the whole line, except I still don't have Wisconsin here. I would put St. Mary's on the 9 line.
St. Mary's is one of those teams that it's sometimes I watch a team and I feel like, well, they're better than their profile. It's just that their schedule doesn't allow it.
Yeah.
I don't get that feeling from St. Mary's. You could look at this and dissect it and say, okay, the win against Virginia Tech was decisive and it was against a bubble team, and it's hard to win at San Francisco. It's not that easy to win at Davidson. I don't know what it is, and I hate the term eye test, which is why I'm using it for yet the second time on this show. They just don't look as good as they don't look any better than their profile, whereas I think a team like Belmont and Miami, Ohio do.
Fair.
Well,
I like Santa Clara. Right now, I like Santa Clara's profile better than St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Better record in the
That's
conference.
going to
They
be a
beat
hard
them
sell
head-to-head.
to me, Mike. But I know they won the head-to-head, but Santa Clara has 2 horrible losses, and I get Arizona State as tier 2, but Titel will back me up. That's a horrible loss, is it not?
Any loss to ASU is horrible, of course, Chad.
Well, I was going to argue Arizona State would be half a horrible loss, but then I could also say Loyola is like 1.5, so it's still 2 horrible losses in the end.
But are we going to stick with I guess it was Titel's line then. Griggs, are we sticking with it? Wisconsin, SMU, Georgia, A&M?
Yeah, I sure. I
Okay.
like it.
Then,
Yeah.
Mike, let me go to you. We do have St. Mary's under consideration. They did not quite get in, but you want to give me 4 teams?
Okay, hang on. Let's see who you have. Okay, we'll go with USC.
USC,
Indiana?
who, by the way, as we record this, They are
Tight.
tied with 7 seconds left with Penn State, so we may have to reevaluate that in about a minute here.
Ooh,
Go ahead.
oh,
Or
that's right. They're
7
playing.
seconds.
But Michigan almost lost to Penn State at Happy Valley, so you never know. They're tough at home. But Indiana,
Good pick.
Oh,
I personally like Santa Clara, but I guess we'll go with St. Mary's and then UCLA. UCLA for now, but their next 3 games are super tough.
USC escapes Happy Valley.
Wow.
And Mike, you'll be happy to know it was a very good pick putting USC. They picked up a very, very strong bad road win.
Yeah. Penn State at home is tough.
It
Uh-oh.
was a road win. There is a team I like more than USC, and they have a crappy profile. But I think after yesterday, I think that was impressive enough to win that decisively on the road at Marshall. I think this is about where Miami belongs, at the bottom of the 10.
Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, Miami, Ohio.
Because
Mother Miami.
Okay, I'll put USC there on the left, and in fact, if we give it a second here, it may even refresh you with that Penn State win.
Oh my God,
If
that
it's
is a
going
horrible
official yet.
profile. Miami's profile is garbage. There's no denying that. But I still think
Oh, there we go. The Penn State win just showed up there. It is a tier 2 win as of right now. So
wins against Bubble
Oh,
34.
USC has the win at Wisconsin.
and the win over Indiana and the win over a
Mhm.
bubble-ish Seton Hall team.
Yeah. USC tops out higher. I just think Miami might be a little bit better for reasons that are not obvious when you look at the profile.
I would almost argue that UCLA, if we're gonna, is the team that we could discuss bumping out here in favor of Miami. If you wanted to put Miami on the slide, but Dorman, what is your thoughts on Mike's line? Let me put it back on the screen.
I think Santa Clara should be in the mix here. I really do.
I agree.
I would have Santa Clara before I have UCLA. I've already spoken on St. Mary's, and I agree with SC in Indiana. So I would just slide in Santa Clara over UCLA at this point.
Well, let's do that here. Let's Tytel, what do you think? Should Santa Clara be in and UCLA out for now?
Whew, a little West Coast bias we got. They're so close. I kind of want to throw the Broncos a bone
Yeah.
before they play Gonzaga. Even without Braden Huff, I think the Zags will take care of business. Yeah, let's throw them a bone, Chad.
All right, then I think we are decided, and we are going to put Santa Clara in. Hold off on UCLA for now. Not saying they're not going
You
to
look at
make it.
UCLA's next 3 games, they could very much drop. I mean,
Next 4 games, really.
next
Honestly, the
yeah.
rest of the season
5
here,
out of 6.
here, Mike. The only real easy game they have left is a Minnesota game, but that's on the road, so who knows?
Yeah. So they got opportunities to play their way inside the bubble. If they win out, they're going to be in the tournament.
They could literally lose out with that remaining
Yeah, they
schedule
could.
too.
Yeah, they could.
Dorman, let me go to you for the next. Why don't you give me the next 2 teams because we're coming down towards the end here.
Okay, this is where I'm with Griggs. Miami of Ohio.
Undefeated, you got to be above the bubble. I agree with that.
Yeah, when you just keep winning, and it's just hard to win every game, and they keep doing it. So until then, I'm with Miami of Ohio here. The next,
And it
Go
does
ahead.
not take an at-large spot away.
correct. The next one is tough. I could throw 4 teams in a hat and pick. I'm going Miami of Florida.
Miami.
Yes.
Tytel,
Yes,
you
we
like
stopped
that?
it.
Miami?
No, Chad, I love it. And to be honest, as long as we get them playing each other in Dayton, I don't care what seed you give them or how they're arranged. I want them to play.
In Miami.
The problem in order to do that, we need Akron to win the auto bid out of the MAC because Miami, Ohio cannot go to Dayton as an at-large team,
Right.
as an automatic bid winner out of the MAC.
Why not?
I'll tell you what,
Tytel,
Dayton
get
is
back
not
on the phone
hosting
with the
this
Big
year.
Sky Commissioner. We can make this happen.
Tytel, if you like those, why don't you give me 2 more teams? Let's start off our first 4.
I guess we can get UCLA in. They beat a bunch of bad teams and Purdue and Rutgers, so I guess that is good enough for me. As far as a 4th, I'll give Sean Miller a little love with Texas.
Oh,
You're
Let's
winning
not
at
show.
Alabama. You're beating
Oh, no,
Georgia. I mean, I know
it's
he's
not
got
the
a ton of
selection
losses.
part. It's the Sean Miller part.
I
Anyway,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been one of the people that's been pounding the do not put Texas in this field bandwagon drum all season. On this 3-game winning streak, I'm even there. I think that Texas belongs in the
Yeah.
field at this point.
For the
Uh,
record, Titel, those are the two teams I had. So next on. I don't know if that makes you feel good or it makes you
It
question
does
yours.
not.
Okay, yeah.
Stalika, you want to give me the last two teams?
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes me want to break my glass right here that Texas is in, but unfortunately I cannot dispute that selection. But if I have to go with my last two teams, I'm gonna say Cal probably gonna be the least controversial right there, and I don't think I can support Virginia Tech after their most recent loss, and I'm probably gonna once again have Missouri as my last team in. That win against Kentucky on the road starting to look a lot more massive.
Let's get a few thoughts here. Dorman, UCLA, Texas, Cal, Missouri as our first four. Miami just avoiding the first four. Do you like our 11 line?
I don't hate it. I think Stalika did a great job. There's one team I would probably throw in the mix here, but if it got vetoed, I understand it. I would throw San Diego State right in here with Cal and Missouri.
I would argue that you've got the wrong Mountain West team there. Shouldn't it be New Mexico
Fair.
we're discussing?
Last
Until
night,
yesterday,
yeah, last
I
night,
would have been, I was
yeah,
right there
last
with
night
you until
bothered me.
oh Lord, losing at home to a team that's nowhere near the bubble.
Yeah.
I had a
Ah,
team sandwiched in between, like right behind California and between Missouri, and I actually had Virginia Tech one spot ahead of Missouri. I had Belmont, who I know that doesn't impact the way the
I'll
bracket will
put them
be
at the
built.
top of the 12 line, Griggs, because they would
Yeah,
be in as our auto bid winner. I'll throw the
yeah.
profile up here. I'll tell you, if you held your nose at Miami, Ohio's profile, I think you held your nose more at the Belmont profile.
On the
The F
profile,
three,
yes. On the team, no. This is a very good team.
yeah, you said that about Akron.
No, I didn't. We
Ooh.
went back and deleted that.
I would also like to remind you that New Mexico has now been swept in the regular season by a team that lost to Hawaii
Yeah.
Pacific, which is
And
not a Division One team even.
and I've been championing Iowa all year long.
Uh, well, let's see here. Pytel, what are your thoughts on our first four teams there, or should we have put one of those under consideration or somebody else up in there?
I like the Aztecs. I understand the Cal and Missouri, the big power conference schools are going to get big power conference opponents and the chance to win those games. But I just think that they had a gauntlet early on. Troy, double overtimes, 1 point. If you want to ding them, I get it. Um, Grand Canyon on the road by one, like they're so close. So if the rule is that good teams need to win these games, I get it. But I really like this team.
I agree with you, and I think at the end of the day, San Diego State might be there. My problem is when you look at Missouri, who was our last team in, Florida, and Kentucky, Auburn are all in our field solidly.
Yeah.
Who did San Diego State beat that's in our field?
Nobody.
Not a one, but then why does the JNG have them so close? And I understand they have Missouri, so if you want to use that argument, that's fine too.
That's going to make Joby reprogram his rankings right there.
You can throw Ohio State in this category too.
No,
No.
Now, as we record this, they are losing and losing by double digits at home to Michigan. So
Who's
had they
good.
won this game today, I
Yeah.
think I'd be right there with you that this Ohio State team belongs there. Is Oklahoma State suddenly close after that BYU win?
They deserve consideration for sure.
Closer.
I mean, they really don't have a bad loss, do they?
No, they need to
No.
do a little bit more away from home. I
They
think
got
that
3
they're
wins against this field. I see Texas
yeah,
A&M, UCF, all at home.
yeah. I think they're within reach of it, but still with work to do.
A Kansas
They're
or
only-
Houston win at home would go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh,
problem for the Cowboys is they're only 3 wins away from home or against Utah and Northwestern on the road and Grand Canyon on a neutral floor.
Anyone else that we should throw that under consideration board at least?
A team to keep an eye on that we would not select yet, but that is playing perhaps their way closer and closer to the bubble. What about West Virginia? This is a team to watch, not a team to select. I think that they're playing really well.
I think
I
you
can't
got the wrong Big 12 team. I think you
Okay.
have to look at the Frogs if you're looking for.
Okay, yeah, that's another one.
I'll put them both up there. You know, there's arguments to be made on both. They both have some bad warts, though.
Bad, very bad. Yeah.
Consideration to Seton Hall merit here, at least for under consideration.
We'll put TC Hall.
That's not a wart I see on TCU. That's an amputated toe if you're looking at New Orleans.
Can I ask why nobody's talking VCU?
I had them on.
I get them.
Yeah, they're hovering right around my bubble, Chad, and you've been pointing them out, and I don't want to say you're right, even though you are, but I independently discovered that you might be correct. No, I have them right around the bubble.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. I won't make my Nevada bubble argument quite yet. Give me a couple of weeks on that one, but
Yeah.
let's finish out that 12 line. You know what? I was going to throw Tulsa in here, but as we record this,
They're
looks like they're
losing
about
at
to lose to
South
South Florida, which will put South Florida in the first place in America. So let's just throw South Florida in there instead of Tulsa, along with Liberty.
That is a
Stephen F.
good
Austin.
Liberty team. That's a good SFA team. That is, when you look at the potential 5 versus 12 matchups, I'm giddy just thinking about it.
And then we'll go ahead and throw in the 13 through 16 seeds as well. They're going to come up really quickly here. We deal with all these schools on our Wednesday night under the radar show, but we've got Yale, California Baptist, not Utah Valley because of the litigation that's going on. We'll see what happens with all that. Check out our show from Wednesday night if you want to find out more about that. We got High Point, Hawaii, Charleston, Troy, Portland State, North Dakota State, Austin P, UT Martin, East Tennessee State, Navy, Wright State, Long Island, Merrimack, Bethune-Cookman, UMBC, and yes, number 355 net Morgan State, currently leading the MEAC. There's only 9 or 10 teams worse than them in all of Division One.
They're also 355 in Ken Pomeroy's ratings too.
That's remarkable.
At the end of the day, I think Howard is the best team in the MEAC, but right now they are in first place.
To give you an idea, that would conceivably be the biggest upset of the entire NCAA tournament if they were to beat UMBC in the round of 64 or in the first 4.
The first 4. That'd be a huge upset if they win their first 4 game. You're right.
Yeah.
South Florida did just finish off Tulsa, so I think we did right by putting them in. But on that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to final thoughts for everybody about this bracket that we have, but I'm going to pull the bracket down first because, Griggs, I'm going to do something I've never done before in the history of our show, I think. I'm going to give you the first final thought. I know you need a screen share for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And let me see. I'm not used to going first. I mean, normally you save the best for last, but let's see here. Well, as you all know, I like to do what I can. I love our fans. I love our viewers, and I want to do what I can to help. And today I'm offering something else. Today there is a big football game, and there's a debate on the halftime show. I wanted to offer fans, can you see it on the screen there? It's the David Griggs pay-per-view halftime show. You can sign up for this today. This is just going to be a remarkable halftime show. Like, it's a truly entertaining and life-changing experience. Like it says, we're going to have live music. We're going to have live discussions about college basketball, and there's going to be no Chad Sherwood. And to give you an idea, look at these prices. This is what people are paying to watch the halftime show. You shouldn't have to pay $5,000, $6,000 to watch the halftime show. You can order my pay-per-view halftime show for just $699. That's a fraction of what it costs to watch the other halftime show. And on top of that, we're having a special promo code. If you enter Tim Miles when you sign up to pay for it, you get...
That's it. That's it. I am done with this. I'm absolutely done with this. I've disconnected your screen share here if I can. I don't know if I can disconnect your screen share. I seem to have lost the ability to disconnect your screen share. Oh, there we go. Anyhow, Griggs is gone. He's off the show. I've got good news for everybody. I'm done with him. Let me go ahead and pull the screen share back up here and go to real final thoughts. Mike, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm really pleased. Basically the first 7, 8 seed lines, we were all in agreement. Very, few discrepancies. Like, like as the season goes along, we're just becoming more polished, more refined. So, and just hard to believe, what was it, 5 weeks from now, Selection Sunday, and football is going to be over after tonight. So, let's put a lot more attention, put a lot more of the spotlight on college basketball. And I see like among the first six teams, it's like, it's like even like Michigan, it's like if they go into slump, and they could because they have a very tough backloaded schedule. If they lose a lot of those games, they could fall to a 2 seed. I mean, you got Illinois and Houston right on their tail, so it's going to be really exciting. There could be some shuffling depending on how key games go.
Yeah, I agree completely. Dorman.
I'm going to give a tip of the hat to the ACC. When we did the preview show, I had about 3 teams making the tournament, maxed out at 4. Today I see 8.
9.
We 8, 9,
Yeah,
9,
look
and
at the
another
bottom there.
one.
We actually have a counter
Thank
now.
you.
So
9
yeah.
and one more on Virginia Tech that was under consideration that still has some work to do. But I give this conference a lot of credit. They're really much, much stronger top to bottom than they were the last couple of years. And they were struggling and not getting many good seeds and not real strong job in the tournament. But this year they've really turned it around. Tip my hat to the ACC, now sitting in here with 9 bids.
Yep. By the way, there is that counter at the bottom. We put 7 Big 12 teams in, 10 from the Big 10, 11 from the SEC, 3 each from the Big East and the West Coast.
Thank you.
Stalika.
I'm going to be going to work tonight just so I'm not remotely tempted to think about Griggs in halftime. But anyhow,
Please do
anyhow,
not purchase his halftime show. Please do not do it.
as far as my real final thought, I had touched on this as far as Villanova having a lack of potential quality wins in the Big East. It's also going to ultimately torpedo UConn off the #1 line right here. But I think one of the silver linings is even as a 2 seed, they'll probably stay in the East region and potentially have another Elite Eight matchup for the ages with Duke should those seedings hold up. Now I forget, is this one going to be in Newark this year or is it? No, I'm sorry, it's going to be in DC. So
DC.
Titel will actually have a front seat for a potential Duke UConn regional final here.
Yes.
Well, Titelli threw it over to you. You want to finish off the show? You can take the David Griggs role.
Great. Since Chad can't give me the Miami matchup I want, which is not his fault, it's the bracketing rules, I get it. He could at least give us the college football playoff rematch, perhaps, if Indiana and Miami end up in the same vicinity. We just saw it on the football field last month. We might see it on the basketball court next month. Additionally, we could have a Red Hawks against St. Louis 7-10 matchup or 6-11 matchup. I'm no historian, but I assume that the first round game featuring a pair of teams with a combined 1 loss has got to be a record of some sort and would be the most entertaining first round game I can remember in quite a while. And then last but certainly not least, as Arizona goes to battle Kansas on Monday night, it is the first of 2 matchups this month. They could very well meet again in the NCAA tourney and the Big 12 tourney. Imagine you haven't played a team yet in your conference. It's early February. They might play them 4 times in like an 8-week span. Unbelievable.
I'm going to throw another wrinkle to what Titel mentioned. What if that Miami-St. Louis matchup takes place in St. Louis because they could potentially be paired with Illinois, who probably would be closest to St. Louis for the first round? That is not an ideal reward for a potential perfect season for the Red Hawks.
There we go. That seems to be the kind of matchup the committee would actually do too.
Yeah.
Put those 2 teams together. But on that note, I do want to thank everyone for joining us. We will be back Monday night with Hoops HD Report, Wednesday with Under the Radar, and next Wednesday on our normal evening time period for a bracket rundown show. On behalf of David Dorman, John Salika, John Titel, Mike Cha, I'm Chad Sherwood. Thankfully, there's one other puppet who is no longer here, and if I have my way, he won't be here tomorrow either. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon.